Hi guys, welcome back. Now before we move on to the next part of this series, which will be items, I just want to go back over to the login panel that we created and address the problem of the email and password not being saved like it would usually with a normal login script. Originally, our login form was not really a form at all. So what I've done is on the login panel section, I've added names to the email input box and the password input box, and I've wrapped the whole form with form tags, and I've given that form tag an ID of login form. And up in our logMeIn function of our Jquery, where message equaled pass, originally we just diverted the browser to another page. Now this time what I'm doing is I'm targeting the ID of login form, and we're actually submitting that form. By submitting the form, all we're basically doing is refreshing this page, the index page, but if we pass, our sessions get set via by our function script. So as soon as it refreshes and it sees that our UID session is set, it's then taken us off to our character.php page. So it gives us the same effect, but it's registering the form as being properly submitted, like you would usually do on a regular login script. Also, one thing you might want to add right at the end here is return false, and this is because if our message comes back as anything other than pass, it will still submit the form, because we're obviously pressing a submit button. So the page will refresh, but it will still be on the index page, and we haven't got that message box come up saying that something was wrong. Okay, so now we're going to move on to items. What I've done is I've created 4 sets of items tables. We have a raw materials, which is what we're going to use to create equipment and various other things. And then we've got compounds and stabilizers. Now the compounds and stabilizers we're going to use to refine raw materials, and we've also got an extracts table, and the extracts is what we're going to use, is what we can receive when we refine. So in the compounds, extracts and stabilizers, I've got 20 different items, and in the raw materials I've got 100 items, which is made up of 4 compounds and a stabilizer, and each has an extract set to it, which is the extract that we have a chance of receiving from the refining of that material. So in order for us to gather items what we're going to do is, for now, is we're just going to use a simple searching of the area, and this will be done via another plugin. So we need a way of swapping the plugins in and out on the actual game screen. And to do this, what I've done is I've added a little button here which just says search area, and that's in on our plugin, our map plugin page. And I've also got a load function, a function which is load plugin in our scripts of their main page. And this just basically says that we're targeting our ID plugin dash box, which is this main div area inside of our body, which we're loading up plugins into, and we're loading a plugin X, or in the X folder, and it's called x.plugin.php, and the X is our variable that we're going to feed into this function. So that means that our plugin folder name has to be the same name as the .plugin.php file. Right, so if we come over to our map.plugin page, here is that button, and on the on click event, we're saying load plugin of search. Now I've created this search.plugin.php page, and it just looks like this for now. And that is located in our plugins folder, in a search folder, and it's called search.plugin.php. So what we're doing here is first we're requiring each of the setup files, and then we're outputting a variable of found and two buttons. One button which says search again, and by clicking that we're loading up this same plugin, and we also have a second button which is back to map, and that reloads the map.plugin. So what we need to do is we will create a random value between 1 and 10, and we'll say that if this random value is less than or equal to 7, we're going to find a compound. Else we're going to find a stabilizer. Now, because we need more compounds per refine than we do stabilizers, we want to have it so that the compounds are found more often than stabilizers. So inside of our if statements, what we're going to do is we're just going to execute a query, and we're just going to say select all from the compound table and order by random and limit it to 1. We'll execute the query, and store the values in row. Once we've stored the values, we need to set a new variable which will be found. I'm going to equal that to the name of the item, and inside of here we'll just put in brackets compound, so we know that it's a compound that we found, and we'll just copy all this and put it into the stabilizer else condition, and we're selecting from the stabilizer table, and again we'll change this so we know we've found a stabilizer. So when we save this and we execute this plugin, what we're going to have echoed out is the name of the item and the type of item that we've found. So we click the search area. You can see here we've found Primaset or Primasite. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. These are all made up names, which is a compound. We click search again, and this time we find a stabilizer, and we can keep searching, and we can find unlimited amounts of compounds and stabilizers, which is not what we want to do really. So what we're going to do is, like many traditional browser-based games, we're going to have an energy or a limit to the amount we can search over a time period. And to keep it simple, we're going to have a certain amount of we'll say energy, and this will be reset every hour on the hour, and we'll show you how to do that. So if we come back over to our database and we go to user characters, we go to the structure, and before map ID, so under the points, we'll just add in another field, and we'll just say energy. We'll say that's C energy. This is going to be an integer value. Now we'll make this a small int. It's going to be an unsigned value with a default of, we'll say 25. So we can search 25 times an hour before we're restricted, before we have to wait. And what we'll also do is we'll add another field in, and we will just put in energy reset, and for now we'll just leave this as a varchar with a 255 character limit. And we'll save that. So that energy reset will be a time and a date to when we can reset to when the energy is reset. So I'm going to leave the video here, and we will have a look at implementing our energy in the next video.